2-minute Tuesday rig video. Today we're going to talk about ground bait and pinky rigs. Everyone has their own preferences. Some people use wire, some people use different ones. But today we're going to talk about the old faithful Drennan. No, it's not Drennan, it's Colmic Jolly. This float has been around for a long time, features a carbon stem and a plastic bristle. You could use these just on their own. But for this float, I'm fishing fast. I want to get my bait down to the bottom quickly, fishing over a small target area. So I use these, and what I tend to do is just cut them down. For example, if you imagine this is your 18cm rig winder, obviously they're slightly too long. I don't cut them down for that, I cut them down so they fish quicker. So what I do, before I do anything, I'm just going to chop about 1 centimetre off the bristle, just like that. That's the beauty about having a plastic bristle. And then what I'm going to do then is I'm probably going to take about 2 centimetres off the stem. So I'm going to take 2 centimetres off the stem, like that. Then what I do then is I'm just going to take some sandpaper, just sandpaper the end off that, just so it makes it nice and smooth. You've got a float that will go on the 18cm rig winders perfectly, but also you've got a float that will fish quicker. Obviously, the longer the stem, the longer it takes for the bristle to set. I want to be my bolt going in, the float settling and fishing straight away. Showing any little lifts, that's why we've got the carbon stem float. And we've got the body, so if it is flowing, you can hold back and just itch it through. You can do a bit of everything. So with one float, you've got loads of different types of presentation. Mainline again, the wind does affect the drains massively. I'm going to use an 012 on mainline on this one, just because I'm fishing aggressively, and I'm probably going to have an 08 or 09 hook length. So mainline, to balance it out, I'm going to have an 012 mainline. So obviously, first thing we need to do, take the line through the eye of the float. Some people will varnish the floats. I've experimented with it over the years, and I pretty much only varnish the floats that I can't get anymore, just to prolong the life. I know other anglers used to do it, but the only reason why I would varnish my floats is to prolong the life of it. If I've got a particular pattern that I can't get anymore, then I will look after them, believe it or not. So we've slid the float up there. We need the silicone, which again, the Colmic silicone. Hydra do a good, I think every manufacturer does a good silicone now, but I always tend to go back to this. And we're going to put 4 pieces of silicone, 3 small pieces, 1, 2, 3, and 1 longer piece, and that will go on last. So take the silicone. It's always important to use good light when you're doing your rigs. It makes things 10 times easier. So that's 2. Three, and then the 4th one is a slightly longer piece there. Slide that on, just wet the line slightly. This is why it's always important to just sand the end of that float off, just so it makes it nice and smooth. So you're not damaging the line, you're not damaging the silicone on the end. That's 3, and then the 4th piece is the slightly longer one. Which that. I just leave that just slightly protrude in the end, just so it doesn't tangle that easy. So slide that on there. Right, so this is a 1 gram jolly, and we don't want too much shot on the line, but we don't want too little as well. I like to have a little kicker off the back of on the bottom of the olivette, just to stop tangles. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to put 1 number 9 above the olivette, so we're going to put that on now. Obviously the best way to apply shot video. If you need to know the ins and outs of it, just watch that video. So I'm going to put one number 9 on first. Then we're going to put the line through a 0.8 gram Olivet. The Olivets I've chose are the Drennan ones. They say the weight on them, so if I'm remaking rigs, I know exactly what weight Olivet I've been using. We're going to put three more number 9s below. Again, Balabini shot. 3, slide them on there. So that's going to be my little kicker off the back end. And then on this particular rig, I'm fishing positive, so I'm going to have 2 number 10s on here, which sometimes I might have 1 dropper, sometimes I'll mong it straight down or push it right down and make a really positive rig. So now we're going to put 2 number 10s underneath. Such 2 number 10s. Take a bit more slack line. Then I'm just going to make 3 little flat spots on this line and slide all the shot over the top. And what that does, it just opens up the shot inside, so I know I can move my shot confidently during the match and it's not going to damage the main line. Just going to wet that, slide that over there. All of it goes over. I've got my 3 number 9s underneath, and that's down there. Not going to keep them too tight. I'm just going to have a little tiny gap between the shot. Then my 2 dropper shot, 1 number 10, 2 number 10s. Again, just going to slide that up to the bulk so it's out of the way. Just going to bite the line off, get rid of that little flat spot on the line. Tie my loop. Like so. Take my loop sizer, use the smallest loop sizer, just moisten that. So pull that tight, off the smaller end, tighten it up again. Keep it nice and tight again. Just going to trim that off with your scissors, nice and tight. This particular rig I'm going to be using down the middle. You could use it for bread as well. It's quite a positive bread rig. Just going to have 1 dropper on this rig. So nice and positive. Slide that up there. Just have a nice little space between the shot, and that just acts like a little kicker off there. So you got your 1 number 10 dropper, which I can move that down and make 2, move the Olivet up if I want, or I can move everything down above your hook length. Now that rig I like to use a 4 or 5 inch hook length. Majority of the time it's a 4 because I'm nice and positive. I want that bristle to fish quick, so it'll go sink to there, and that last number 10 will just sink the float perfectly, and any indication you get a little lift or it'll carry on going straight under. So that's my ground bait and pinky rig. Main line was 012, obviously for the wind. And there we have it, ground bait and pinky rig.